At Your End Step is brought to you by Comic Town and BCW Supplies. Hello, and welcome to At Your End Step. My name is Morgan, and I'm here with Mike.
Hello.
And Dave.
Hey.
And we have another fun-filled episode for you folks this week. Back to sort of normal shows. No more Palooza until Dominaria. And that's okay. It's all right. I'm kind of excited about Dominaria now. Now that, like, Rivals is out, like, I just want it to be April.
Now it's officially the next set.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting.
It's very exciting. But enough of that. Let's talk about what's happening now. So we have a few community topics to discuss. And, of course, all the things that happened over the weekend, like the Star City Games Philadelphia Open that we didn't even mention at the end of the show, unfortunately. Sorry.
I forgot it was a thing. But, hey, at least we have Constructed to talk about.
Hey, we do.
We had the limited GPs that we're not going to talk about. So,
yeah,
that's it for that.
And then a question of the week. We can fit it into the end of the show here. So let's kick things off with the community. So first and foremost, we kind of this happened a little bit ago, but we've kind of got some information on how you can obtain cards within Magic Arena. So they've done a bunch of like streams and you know stuff like that. That kind of I think there was an article even that sort of showed this process pretty much laid out as it is, and it's a little bit different than what you would commonly find in other pure digital card games. Basically, the game Magic Arena requires you to like obtain 4 of a card, and any card that is over that basically kind of gets instantly what's the word I'm looking for here? Broken down, and it goes above
into the
vault. And you have this vault meter that slowly builds up and then cracks open, and you get wild cards, and you can turn wild cards into any card of the same rarity. So you'll have wild cards common through mythic rare that you'll be able to convert into other cards that you will need to obtain. And there's going to be 2 different kinds of booster packs. There's going to be your draft packs, which are going to be 14 card booster packs, but there's also like smaller booster packs that only have 8 cards in them. It's a
call those booster bites.
Yeah, booster bites. That's a booster snack pack.
The light packs.
Third of the calories.
Yeah.
Third of the cards.
So that's kind of like the information that we have, and it's all out there. So if we're missing something, go do your due diligence to kind of take a look at all the things that they have. It's it's not final. That's kind of the best thing that I feel like I can say about it at this point in time, because I don't think it's very good. A lot of other digital card games allow you to deconstruct your cards and don't require you to maintain play sets of them. So a lot of people will buy digital booster boxes worth of cards, deconstruct any of the cards they do not want, and use the currency that you get for deconstructing those cards to forge cards, pretty much. And pretty much every popular digital TCG does this. Hearthstone does this. Eternal does this. Those are the 2 that I've really played primarily.
Essentially, all of them do it.
Yeah.
Here's the 2 that I know.
But I mean, so it's a system that works though, because the way that those things are is they don't have trading, and neither will Arena. So you have to find a way that will allow people to be able to build decks within a reasonable time frame. And within a reasonable like fixed cost, pretty much. Like that if you dump this much money into Hearthstone, you can at least build 1 to 2 competitive decks for the following season. Same thing goes for Eternal. If you buy 1 or 2 booster boxes when the set comes out, you can deconstruct whatever deck you don't want to play, construct the card that you want to play with the whatever currency you get from that, and be able to reasonably build whatever deck you want. But you won't have that availability with Arena. You won't have, from what we can see, I think there's still a lot of stuff that is ambiguous. Like we don't know drop rates of wild cards. We don't know how necessarily. I think it has been revealed how quickly like the vault meter fills up, but And it doesn't just fill up from cards; it fills up when you open booster packs too. Like, it just seems obtuse for no reason.
I just want to point out that the card games that you've mentioned, the digital card games you mentioned, Hearthstone, Eternal, these are digital, for about lack of a term, TCGs. But that term TCG defines Magic because it is a trading card game. So I think this idea that they must eliminate trading from Arena, like I get it, maybe it's a design issue, like it's hard to code, but it does seem like you're just taking away one of Magic's like bigger things and just saying like, nah, it's cool. And if you have all these people who are obviously, we have stores for Magic Online, that sort of thing, like this is going to feel a little frustrating, I think, depending on what the end result of this is. I don't like the system. I don't like a system that I have to do like when a new set comes out, I don't have to play mini games to play the deck I want to play. I want to be able to put down my money and say I want these cards so I can play this deck. Like that is what I enjoy about Magic Online. Even if it's the day a set releases, the way that everything moves so quickly, I can put the money down and say I want these cards if I want them, even if I'm paying a premium. Like the fact that I wouldn't be able to do that as a consumer immediately turns me off. I don't want to do that. I don't want to play your stupid game to get the singles I need. Let me have a good way to get singles. And I understand that Magic wants to sell packs, but paper Magic has to sell packs. Online, you have a little more freedom for that, or at least open the trade, do something. So this just feels like they had all this time and they do all these things, and the answer just feels really meh. It's like, oh, okay, you couldn't figure it out. All right, good.
Yeah,
I think like when it breaks down, they don't want to create another secondary market.
They just want to control it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I feel you on that, Mike. Like what you were saying. Like I don't have that much time to devote to sit there and just grind. Like online. Like if even on Magic Online, I don't play that often. I pretty much only like do cube drafts. So it's like if I wanted to build a deck or something like that, or like that's just not even an option for me, basically. So it's just like, okay, well this doesn't sound like it's for me. So hopefully they change it before it officially releases.
Especially since it's going to officially release without the mobile option. Like, so you can't
it's
just
really
like
awkward.
You can't just do this when you're going around doing whatever. Because correct me if I'm wrong, I've played Hearthstone mobile in a long time, but you have full functionality on mobile.
Oh yeah.
So
same thing with Eternal.
Yeah. So like
I now Eternal did go through like technically Eternal's still in like closed like beta, like it's still not a full release of that game technically speaking, but as far as I know the game functions perfectly well enough for what I would do on it anyway. And Hearthstone initially wasn't on mobile either, like it was
sure, but like I don't know, I don't know, this just feels like I do not know what I'm supposed to look forward to for Arena. I don't. It's aesthetically, it doesn't do anything for me because other games already look like it. I just want to play Magic, and I can do that on Magic Online. Now, Magic Online last night had a hard crash reset for me twice, so maybe we could just, go back to the whole, that'll make that client better idea. But I guess we're way past that one, so kill me.
No, I understand what they're trying to do with it. They're just like not doing it.
No, I think they're failing.
Yeah, they're just not doing it
I
very
hate to say that about a product that like they want all this hype for and everything, and the new CEO and all these cool things. Like, but it still looks like a Hearthstone clone.
Yeah,
and you're eliminating one of the things that makes Magic different from the other games to try and set up this, not having another market. Like, it just seems like if all you're doing is trying to clone what the other games do, then you better hope that. And I, as a player of Magic, I know that it is the better game, but you're not going to draw new people in that way. They're going to go to the one that's, like in this case, Hearthstone's dominating there. So your bad Hearthstone clone doesn't get anybody anywhere. So I don't know.
Yeah. So like, I think that, the idea of like not being able to like deconstruct these stupid dumb like draft cards that I get from my draft, I have to keep at like 4 of them is ridiculous to me. Like they're my cards, I should be able to determine what I'm able to do with them. If I want to break them down into components and then build other cards with those is what I should do.
So let's look at a card like Demolish.
Yeah, you have to have 4 of them.
Hold on here. Demolish is consistently a draft common in multiple sets, right? Like it is reprinted
always like
all the time, right?
Yeah.
So do I have to keep 4 copies in each set that it exists in?
I would hope not.
Because I would hate for them to accidentally eliminate my favorite art of Demolish.
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean. So we should keep 4 for each.
That
for a card that has probably never been cast in Standard, but I guess
No, it was at one point.
Oh, that's really, really, really sad.
That's something that other CCGs will use CCGs
because they're not TCGs.
Yeah, CCGs, digital CCGs. I couldn't think of that before. Haven't had an issue with because I don't know if like Hearthstone or any of those have lasted long enough to have reprints.
Sure.
I think all the sets they release are brand new cards. They're smaller than your typical Magic set, so they can get away with it fairly easily. But that is an interesting thing to think about. And maybe they've already answered this question, but that would be absurd. But also, like, would also make sense because you're right. Like, some of them are going to have new art.
Yeah,
and, like,
I mean, come on. I just like that there's going to be like some sort of happy AI voice. All right, I'd like to get rid of all the extra demolishes. Ooh, I'm sorry, Mike. I can't do that. But computer, I really want to get rid of these. Ooh, no, I'm so sorry. Please stop trying to get rid of these demolishes. Yeah. I really need to. I'll demolish you. Okay, there's no reason to get so angry.
So, like, maybe this is a way for them to not close themselves off from being able to have trading in the future, though. When you look at it, so because if you do a Hearthstone model where you can break down cards, then you'll never trade anything because for the most part you could just break down all your extra cards.
No, sure.
And then so maybe by having this more abstract way, they open it up.
Then just have trading. Don't play this stupid don't give them outs. Don't. These are bad announcements. Then
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think if you are trying to implement trading, then you're also going to have you're also just going to have a delay. I think that they want to get this out as soon as they can, so they don't want to do anything that's going to distract from
make a full working client. Yeah, I know how that goes. Can we move on from this? This is making me actually really angry.
Yes. I have Dave turned down right now because he's fixing his microphone stand. So he was making some.
He's huddled over the table with like a large cylindrical object. I don't know what he's doing.
Right. Are you good? I'll turn you back up now. All right, he's good now, so that he's making some up, and of course he hits the mic stand as soon as they turn him up on the thing.
Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, you should say sorry to everyone. So they're gonna do a new Super League. It's gonna be Team Modern Super League. It starts on February 6th, so it's kind of just around the old corner there. So if that's if the Super Leagues are something that interests you, there's going to be a new one that they haven't done before. So that is cool for those of you who are interested. I never watch any of the Super League.
Well, they're always on when we record.
Yeah, so. I always think it'd be cool to watch it, and like I don't even go back to watch the streams, but I do like how they've set up some of the teams. There's a couple of cool ones. I think the Brew Crew is probably the cooler team to watch.
That's gonna be the fan favorite, right?
I mean,
is it like Caleb Durward?
No, it's
he's not on that
Todd
team?
Stevens, Saffron Olive, and Corbin Hosler, and Corbin and Saffron, like they go out of their way to stream the craziest decks that they can find. Yeah. I know Corbin this week was streaming the Simic deck that's gotten popular in Modern that plays 8 rapid hybridizations.
Yeah.
To on your own things to trigger more evolve. Like
Simic evolve.
Like, okay, so I appreciate that those guys. Everyone else might be playing decks, and they're just going to go like scrape the bottom of the barrel. Like the pumpkin's already been carved, but they're going to get a little more out of it.
We'll get a little bit more out of Jack O' Lantern.
The play design team is also fairly hilarious because it's Paul Cheon, Tom Ross, and Melissa DeTora. But it lists alternates as everyone else on the play design team in R&D. So who knows who actually might show up for those matches.
That's pretty good. So yeah, that'll be a cool thing that you can spend your, is it typically Tuesdays or Wednesdays?
Tuesdays, I think. Which is why I never watch because they're always on. We record on every Tuesday, if you didn't know. So
the Brew Crew plays the first time on February 13th, so I will have to skip casting that night, guys. Sorry.
Apparently,
we can put it on in the back. We'll just mute it so that nobody will know we're watching it.
I'll know. I don't know if that accomplishes actually, except for me watching it. So
great.
I don't know. I was trying to change that statement. I'm sorry. I'll take it back.
So another exciting thing that is slowly been being announced. We got a lot of information during the Open this week, or last week, is SCG Con. So Star City Games is going to be running their own convention of sorts on June 8th through the 10th. It'll be, of course, during the Season 1 Invitational. And they've announced some interesting events for it. So the most interesting one is a no ban list modern open.
Sounds really cool, doesn't it?
No,
actually, that
sounds
miserable.
A lot of people are excited about this. It's crazy to me.
So this is something that
you obviously have never played this format before.
Yeah, I've never understood the idea or the appeal. Like, I guess I understand the idea. That sounds ignorant, but the appeal of no ban list modern. I don't understand why people desire this or want it at all. Like, there's some absurd cards that are that you know in this format are legal that do not lead to fun or interesting games of Magic the Gathering. The ban list is a good thing at some point in time, and there are certainly cards on there that are like, yeah, no, you shouldn't be able to play this card without like force of will being in the format.
So, okay, we got that out of the way. I guess it's kind of cool that they're doing it, and like people are excited about it, but I think like once you start playing the games, you're going to be like, wow, I'm going to spend $50 to probably lose on turn 2.
People already literally say that like modern is like a format you can't like hedge against. How do you hedge against no like okay, would you like to roll dice? Oh, 2CO goes first. Might as well just call it a match too. Let's just be honest.
Like,
don't actually do that. Don't actually ever do that. That's a joke. You will get very much kicked out of that tournament.
Ironson does not advocate that at all. Anyway,
yeah, if your opponent plays a turn 1 Inkmoth Nexus, there's a good chance you're probably going to be dead in the next turn.
If they play a turn 1 anything, there's a good chance you're going to be dead.
Turn 1 Magic card. But maybe you can already determine like what the best decks are already. So maybe that makes your metagaming easier.
So what? It's like turn 2 Infect.
Yeah.
Real Storm. Hypergenesis.
Blue-Red Delver is like legitimately one of the best decks.
Blue-Red Delver is literally the sheriff.
Yeah, you get to play Treasure Cruise. You get Skull Clamp with your
you get
Young
real
Pyromancers.
Affinity, Artifact Land Affinity.
Artifact Land Affinity, yeah.
Because that's not disgusting.
Yeah. You get Skull Clamp Elves. I'm trying to think of all the Skull Clamp decks.
I don't need them.
Mental Misstep.
Yeah, Mental Missteps.
In every deck. Every deck.
Yeah, you could play, if you wanted to, you could play full power Eldrazi. So if you want to go back to Eldrazi Winter, you can play that deck with plus more cards.
Chalice of the Void, probably pretty good in that format.
Yeah.
Anyway, not my cup of tea, not our cup of tea, but if you are excited about it and are planning on going to Roanoke, first of all, Roanoke is not great. Yeah. And second of all, good for you.
I was going to say this, right? So they're obviously going to... Well, actually, I don't know. I think they're only going to do the top 8 for this tournament because the Invitational is going to be the main thing that they're going to be
They will be
covering.
Live streaming the top 8 of the no ban list.
This might be the fastest top 8 of all time. Like they might even be able to
blink and you'll miss it.
They should just do the top 8 like how they normally do the Invitationals where they show like every match because it'll still only take like an hour probably.
Honestly, you know what they should do? Because No Ban List Modern isn't a real format. They could have done whatever they wanted. They should have just been like No Ban List Modern featuring special guest Force of Will.
Yeah,
and then they could have made it a like they could do whatever they want, just like the featured players. Days Force of Will.
Yeah, but hey, if that's something you want to watch with your own eyes and understand why the ban list exists, there'll be a top 8 you can watch. There's also going to be a bunch of classics, so the ones you'd expect, modern. Standard, banless modern,
regular modern,
proper modern, a gentleman's modern format, standard legacy, and also pauper. And this sort of is the recent surfer riding the tide of pauper. Being
that was just me in October,
being fairly in the hipsters format, if you will, Yeah, so there's going to actually be a classic. It's going to be, a pauper classic.
I would expect that one to be the largest one, too, out of all of them. Because there just aren't that many large pauper tournaments.
It really just depends. Like, this being a con really I don't know what even large will mean there when you have so many events possible. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm saying larger than all of the other.
No,
classics.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I really got to say about Pauper, like I guess I really didn't think there would be this audience for it, but I'm glad people were enjoying it. So I still think it's probably a headache as a judge to to actually interact with. I know that we built a couple of Pauper decks, and just looking at what I had as a mishmash of what set I have of what cards, and it was just like, well, I hope you just know. Like, it's cool. But
Pauper has the distinct advantage of actually being you can actually like play it realistically online.
No, that's for sure. Of course,
helps it.
Of course.
Can I just say too? So Channel Fireball has run 3 GPs with Pauper events on Sundays, right? So we had Santa Clara, Indy, and then London and last week, right? And we started, it was like just over 100 people in Santa Clara. We had over 200 people in Indy, and we had 302 people in London.
I think 300 people in London is actually crazy to me, because like European GP's numbers, depending on where it's at, aren't always that high comparatively. Even.
Right.
So, like,
now
it's impressive
with that GP. That's the GP that you would expect to see a lot of
pros at defeated Bilbao.
Yeah. So,
I didn't say Bilbo.
No, I know.
You laughed like I was going to say Bilbo.
So there might have been a higher than average number of people at that European GP.
Well, they weren't playing Pauper, though. I could almost
understand that, but I'm just saying, like, there just might have been more people there in general. So
that was the one that was like hyped up. I mean, we also had GP Houston, which had 600 people.
Yeah.
So talk about attendance. I think it was just Paul Rietzel. I think he was the only pro that was playing in that one. He got left behind. But yeah, kind of crazy numbers like for GPs. But again, they're limited. Probably not going to talk much more than what we already have. But interesting stuff going on there.
I want to mention some of the other things on this list of what they're doing, because like they announced SCGCon without announcing anything, and then they started giving like real things.
Yeah.
But obviously that's where the Season 1 Invitational is.
Mm-hmm.
So Morgan does, if it being a giant con where you can do all these cool things, since that's kind of what they were hinting at what it was going to be last year when they did this. Does this make you more enticed to come?
No.
All right, fair enough.
Because Roanoke sucks.
So
it's just a bad city.
All right, well, Party Pooper Morgan over here. I already wanted to qualify for the Invitational. Now I want to even more, because I don't really want to play in the Open. I'll just do all the other stuff. So hopefully I'm make day 2 of the Invitational.
This one makes me sound excited. The Unvitational, which is a special sealed event for Unstable. It sounds fun. Just whatever.
Curmudgeon Morgan just shaking his head over here.
Free $100 cash grab. Oh, Morgan hates that one too. That's weird.
Well, how much is the?
It doesn't have cost. I don't know how much any of this is. Who cares?
Okay, well, that's also my question.
You're literally poo-pooing an idea of a tournament.
It's just not something that entices me to like go all the way out there.
That's right. There's a Commander Celebration, which isn't really for us. There's a $1,000 Magic Gathering cosplay contest. So that's kind of cool. I think that I'm just gonna wear try to find like a way to make myself look like I'm wearing an invisibility cloak, and then just go as Urza's head.
That
go as invisibility.
No, go as Urza's head. I just want to be a floating head. This will be Urza's head.
See, like that costume contest, like. That's hard. That's hard to break into, because you already have people that pretty much do that professionally.
I would hope that like the professionals got to stay out of it.
Yeah, I would imagine
amateurs.
Vanessa Martin's probably not.
I'm assuming some of the better ones they're probably being paid to be at the.
Hopefully,
event,
that's the angle they take.
There's a lot of special guests and artists and stuff too. So also the Power 9 Vintage series is making a return.
Yeah, I was gonna say they have vintage events going on all weekend. So
like it's pretty crazy.
Like basically, however you play Magic, there will be something for you.
And that's great. And I'm glad that it exists, but like this does not like fill the void of like they're not going to be like there's never going to be an Invitational Columbus again.
Yeah,
at least like for the foreseeable future.
Like they're dead, they're gone.
But like I just don't want to go to a garbage city, and I don't know. It's just not worth it to me.
It's not your fault, Morgan.
Hey, can I say this as well? I don't usually get excited for artists. They're going to be there, but we have Anson Maddox, which I can get my full Tron set all signed, because I already have the Mark Poole and the Mark Tadine. So,
is it Tadine? Oh, that was Teden.
Whatever, man. However you want to say.
Oh, I just didn't know if you, had you I always thought it was Teden. So,
yeah, I don't know how to. I thought it was Tadine, but whatever. You know who it is. You know who it is. You did a lot of iconic
that sound. Like it's not Nadine has an E at the end. It's not a Nadine.
Okay, man. I didn't make his name.
Learn English.
Just saying it.
learn English.
Morgan, you might want to. I'm going to drop this mic real quick.
Please don't. I do think that if I were to go, I think I would fly, because I don't know, driving like all the way out there is just like, I don't know.
I do agree. For a con, flying might also make sense, just because like you just want to get there and you want to have fun and you don't want to like worry about the drive back.
Yeah,
so.
The drive backs are hard. They're very hard nowadays. Not like
Morgan's
like
almost 30, so
not like they used to be. But I'm just saying, like, okay,
welcome to the other side, my friend.
They always sucked, but like you just get tired of it, and I guess like I'm just like it's not really how I want to spend like my Sunday or like my Monday or what have you. So,
all right, should you be careful? You're getting over 30, having so much salt in your diet.
I'm not salty. I just like it's not. You asked me if it was appealing enough, and I said no.
I get it.
It's just not.
You hate fun. All right, let's finish up the community topic.
Anyway,
see, I was the first guy that you said, "Oh, Dave hates fun." I was like, "Now you understand."
No, I get it. You all hate fun.
No, Dave does hate fun.
He does. He does hate fun.
He does hate fun.
I'm the one who's trying to get everybody to play Pauper. Okay, so I don't want to hear that.
We're going along with it. Don't worry.
You just want to play Paupers. You can play Delver and Gush. I don't want to hear it.
That's actually not even the deck I'm making.
That's true.
I'm playing Inside Out combo, man.
Yeah.
Turn 2 kill you.
Great.
So much fun.
Yeah, I'm already regretting all of my decisions. So, so the last thing we want to talk about was something that came out today, which is really, really cool, actually. The WotC released a 25 Years of Magic timeline.
Sounds like you like something. What?
And like, if you are new or newer to the game or don't necessarily, haven't been playing since like alpha or beta or what have you, this is a 25 Years of Magic sort of brief, not necessarily brief, but like a pretty comprehensive like overview of Magic's history, and it's presented in a pretty easy to digest timeline that you can just scroll through and kind of see like where Magic started to where it is today.
One thing that kind of jumped out at me, and I was going through this today, is like some of the points that it'll highlight is like, the 1 millionth sanctioned event.
Mm-hmm.
And then like you'll see, and it's like a couple of years, and you see like the 2nd million and so on. And then as you get closer and closer to like modern day, it's just like boom, 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 boom. Like millions of events are being run. It's like, you hit a couple million a year or something. It feels like. I didn't look at it that closely, but
I think that like I like it a lot. I do wish like it feels kind of slight actually. Like just as there could be a lot more. This would be really cool. They may end up doing this. I don't know, but this would be the kind of thing I would love to see. As like this is a coffee table kind of book, right? Like we go through year by year and break it down. I will say that it's a really really forgiving list.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
It doesn't mention it mentions the mechanics like that come out. Like it mentioned like fetch lands as a mechanic for Onslaught. It mentions like indestructible or like equipment. But
it
then
didn't say like, hey, this is where we printed Dredge.
No, like when it got to like Scourge, it distinctly does not say like and Storm. Like it just does not say that at all. So they do sort of like paint over and gloss it over a little bit the areas where it would be like, oh, okay, that's cool. But I like all the little things. I like all the code names for the sets is really cool. And like I don't know, it's definitely pretty nice. I do feel like there's some Magic players who are probably upset that they used all these really old pictures.
There was one that was like such a low res picture. It was just like, is that even a person? Like
I used to have to scroll past like the one of like William Jensen, for example. It's like that guy looks a lot better now. Like I'm sure he doesn't want like that picture, like the one he's being there. Like I think it looks bad, but it's just,
it makes sense though. Well, you can scroll down and see like world champion from last year.
I don't know. I just feel like. I don't know if I want that. Like, I don't want the picture of like 10-year-old me. You know what I mean? Like when it's like you just put the picture of me now up. That's cool.
There you go. See?
Yeah.
Get bearded William Jensen.
bearded Jensen. Did you catch the mysterious bearded Huey?
No, this was pretty cool. Like I was just going through it, and I like even just seeing. Just like when sets came out, it's just like, yeah, I remember like when that happened.
Oh, it makes you feel like old too.
And you want to feel old. Like this year, this will be the 20th year that I've been playing Magic. So I imagine for a lot of people listening to this, I may have been playing for longer than you've been alive.
And the 15th year that his wife has been unhappy.
Wow.
Let me try to think about that. So what year did I start playing actual Magic? I would have been 6th grade, 98. Yeah,
that's when I started playing.
Yeah.
See, I played right before Stronghold came out.
I remember buying Tempest booster packs.
Yeah.
So because I started with Portal Second Age, Second Age is the first Magic I ever got, which is 98. So
yep.
But yeah.
So technically, I also remember buying because I remember was Lightning Dragon that was on
Lightning Dragon
Saga. I remember buying. Is that what I'm thinking of? Anyway, I remember like Wrathy Dragon.
That's Tempest.
Yeah,
that was like an iconic card that they could have put in Iconic Masters.
Yeah,
but they didn't. Still
bitter
about that set. But sure.
Is that the one you had the Sacrifice Mountain?
Sacrifice 2 Mountains.
Yeah, I remember that card.
That card was like actually like that was one of the cards they used on the art, like on the box. You know what I mean? Like they would pick like a couple cards to be like, these are the iconic cards.
I
of
mean,
the
that's
set.
what they still do. So
they still do, yeah. But that was like supposed to be one of the like flagship cards of the set. And it was like,
yeah. So it was like for Tempest, like so was like Scragnoth. So I don't really know if like they ever really matters.
I mean, like that set used like Curse Scroll. I would say is probably the most famous card of Tempest. I mean, there's a lot of good cards. There's a lot of
Wasteland.
It's like
It's
at the time it was like Curse Scroll though.
Ancient Tomb.
You get like
no at the time Curse Scroll definitely was so high up there.
Like Intuition.
Yeah.
So because I remember buying booster packs for I guess I remember the iconic dragons that were on them because I remember Wrathy Dragon and Lightning Dragon.
Oh no, I remember the dragons because I also remember Destiny had Covetous Dragon too, which is like a terrible card, but like I remember that art like sticking out to me. So that's how that stuff works, man. Like those cards.
That's how they get you.
But I remember buying, like I never like I
Booby Trap is in Tempest. That's my iconic card forever.
But like I just like bought cards and like I played with like my kitchen table Magic with my friends and stuff like that. Never was very serious about it, so I usually don't count that in like my Magic history. I just remember buying like cards because like the art was cool and I liked playing.
When we first started playing, like I remember like the first time like a friend of mine like they put a Gaia's Embrace on one of their creatures and we just thought it got +3/+3 every turn, and so I was just like as soon as that happened I was like I just die. All right, cool. So
one
like
card combo.
Cool. It just slowly you figure out how cards work. But no, this is really cool. Like I said, I'd love to see it fleshed out more. Like maybe make it because when I first saw it, there's a couple of places where they showed like video clips, but it's just like a picture of the video.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like, if I click on that, is it going to show me the clip?
So
like,
it'd be cool to see
sense.
either be more interactive, or I said I'd like to see the coffee table book of like Magic's 25 years, which may very well happen. Like knowing what they're doing this year. So
now this is maybe for the future, but they have a coffee table book where it has like a little iPad in it, and then it has the video.
Oh, okay,
clip.
Gotcha. I for some reason I don't know why I thought you were gonna go like Seinfeld on me and be like it's coffee table book of like coffee table. I was like that joke's been done, but never mind. So I have no idea why it's what I thought, but it has pop up hologram videos, man. It's like it's like exactly. A pop up.
Yeah. That's gonna be on like a Black Mirror episode someday.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So, but yeah, definitely a cool thing. And if you are, no matter how long you've been playing the game, it's cool to go check out and just see like what the timeline looks like, and like even go back and look at like the older sets where you have so many like cards you think are iconic, but like they're only like 80 or 100 cards like like in size, and then they start ballooning. Like Mirage is 350 cards as you're going through it, but if you go back to like the Dark and stuff, it's like 100 cards. So Arabian Nights is sub 100. Oh god! And then you have like Fallen Empires and Homelands on there.
Fallen Empires had 102 cards, and I think 100 of them were bad. You had
it's more than that.
You had
right?
like Hymn to Tark. That was a good card.
Hymn to Tark,
and
isn't the one where you had you had a blue right? Isn't I can't think of it now. The one
High Tide.
High Tide is in there.
Yeah,
right?
there you go. That's
cool.
It. No,
like you have a land, right? Isn't like a Rainbow Veil or something in there?
That's only good for proxies for Combo Cube.
All right, well, I don't know then.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, we're just sitting here reminiscing about just cards and random sets. I mean,
yeah, no,
that's kind of the feeling I got as we're going through this. So.
Did you click on the thing that says there's a thing for facts and figures? They did do an infographic for that. Yeah. And I just really enjoyed the fact that if you weighed all the Magic cards in the world, it weighs 516,292 Mark Rosewaters. And like, I don't know why they did that, but I really enjoy that stat. That's a cool stat. Thanks. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. definitely worth looking at if you haven't seen it already. So, before we jump into competitive, I do want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Comic Town. You can definitely check them out at on Facebook. You can do a quick search for Comic Town Gaming Center. There you can check out some of their events. One of their upcoming events is going to be a modern format Star City Games IQ on Sunday, February 11th. So if you want more details on that, check it out on their Facebook page.
Qualify for that Season 1 Invitational and go to the SCG
Yeah,
Con.
Go to SCG Con.
I'll be there trying to
Or as
qualify
Morgan
myself.
calls it, get conned by SCG.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. Once we get pricing on stuff, then I mean, obviously, like their main events are going to be all the same price that they're usually.
Yeah, I don't see that being like a badged event. Maybe I'm crazy about that, but
no.
Like, what do you? Yeah, like because like you can't charge people to come play in the Invitational. That's awkward,
right?
But we'll see.
Yeah. So competitive. So we had Star City Games Philadelphia, which is a team constructed open. It was won by Lucas Michaels, William Lowe, and Jeremy Henry. And they defeated team members of Team BCW. So they defeated Tana Grace, Brian DeCandio, and then Caleb Durward was their third. He's not a member of Team BCW, but
they just sort of like wrecking machine through that tournament. I was
did.
really surprised they lost in the finals. Like they really were going at it. So, but. Good finish either way. Yeah,
for sure. And we get a chance to basically talk about some more deck lists. Obviously, standard still sort of the new format that it is since the bannings. But we had some pretty interesting decks in the top 8. We had a green red Madcap Moon deck in Modern, which was piloted by Michael Drexo.
It's Durzo.
Okay. Michael Durzo, which is kind of fun, kind of interesting.
What did this deck have going on other than Madcap Experiment and Blood Moon, I assume?
Yeah, that's
pretty much it.
A bunch of good red-green mid-range creatures.
Yeah, and Bonfire of the Damned.
You know what this looks like?
Ponza?
The Ponza deck.
It does.
But it doesn't have any Stone Rains in it.
No, it's not focused on Stone Rains so much as...
that's 4 on the sideboard.
Yeah. Hey, did it win the tournament? No, it didn't.
It took third. It's pretty good, but
Didn't win.
It could have though.
But this deck is fun. He definitely. I was watching a little bit of the tournament whilst waiting during my lovely vacation to Florida over the weekend, and I definitely saw this player hardcast a Platinum Empyrean to like stay alive for a turn, and it was against Caleb Durward actually, and Caleb had the Quasali Pride Mage. No wait, was it? Yeah, I believe it was Caleb Durward. Because he has Pride Mage in sideboard, yeah. So I think it was him, and Durward cast the Pride Mage, and it was heartbreaking because you're like, oh man, he did it. He's gonna. Oh no, he did. Because for that, he's just hoping to peel Bonfire because Durward's at 8, and he is Michael had like 1 billion mana anyway, so it's like if he just peels Bonfire, Caleb's just dead anyway. It doesn't matter what his creatures are. So, but it's pretty interesting. And then we had. I'm actually going to go Star City's page here because they lay out all the standard decks a little bit nicer.
I want to talk about a really sweet deck.
So what do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about the Matt Tumovich's Green Red Aggro deck.
Yeah, this was,
I think it was sweet. I know we talked about some of the Green Red decks we had seen the week before. I know Brandon DeCandio had one.
I wonder why Mike wants to talk about this deck.
Wait, which card?
For Rekindling Phoenix.
Hey, all right, you shut up. All right, that card was also in Brendan DeCandio's list as a 4 of, and Rekindling Phoenix taking over the format.
That card's like proving to be the best card in the set.
Don't at me, Rekindling Phoenix for life. Love you, boo. Anyways, this is a pretty sweet list though, because if you look at the creatures, like this isn't trying to do anything like real special. This is just actual Green Red Aggo.
Lego my aggro.
Lego my aggro.
Legos,
I can't think of a deck being this pure, like as far as red green aggro, since like we had Flinthoof Boar.
Yeah, Flinthoof Boar.
The old Brian Kibler deck. Like, we're playing, so 2 Verdurous Gearhulk. Oh, yeah. 4 Earthshaker Kenra. Yeah, it's moved out of just red. Okay, it's Ravenous Ruins left, and it said, well, I've got to go explore other deserts.
We have to see other people.
See if the deserts or Tanner next door.
That Hash-Up Oasis looks real nice. Gonna give me a drink of water.
Obviously, 4 Glorybringer, 4 Jade Light Ranger, 4 Merfolk Branchwalker, 4 Rekindling Phoenix, 2 Thrashing Brontodon, and 2 Resilient Kenra. That's right. Earthshaker Kenra said, all right, some of my other Kenra friends are going to come over.
Got to go visit my cousin over at the Hash-Up Oasis.
I know this guy. He's very
resilient.
Very resilient.
At the Oasis. If you don't remember what Resilient Kenra does, it is green and a colorless for a 2/2 that when it enters the battlefield, is it target creature, correct?
Target creature gets +X/+X.
Or X is its power, and then it has Eternalize. So that's kind of sweet when you're looking at some of the creatures in here that you can really sort of pump up, especially like a Verdurous Gearhulk, where it's just like, yeah, this guy's coming at you. But like, it just plays removal with it and lands. Like, nothing crazy or fancy. I'm just going to try and get you dead with these mid-range threats. And I really appreciate that. I feel like, I don't know. It makes me happy to see a deck like this. Now, granted, I don't. These team events are weird, so I don't know how well this actually matches up against what the standard format's doing. Because a team event you can carry a little bit, but I do think to get into third place in a team event like this, you have to. You can't just be dead weight. Yeah. So,
just want to point out that he has 3 Carnage Tyrants on the board, and we've kind of seen some of these like I know Jim Davis was playing like blue-black control. We saw a lot of like Grixis control-ish type decks. So Carnage Tyrant seems like it's prime for... I don't even know if I'd call it a comeback because it kind of never was there. But fulfilling the destiny, I guess.
Fulfilling the destiny of the Carnage Tyrant. So, wait. What's the destiny of the Carnage Tyrant? To get taken out by a meteorite? Like, I don't understand. What's that?
Well, like we were saying, it was like
20 damage.
Well, we were saying it was like the best card in the set, And
it was. It was, and
it really didn't do anything.
The control decks broke white, and like they, not just the control decks now, but you mentioned Grixis. Like we should talk about Brandon DeCandio's Grixis Energy deck because that really is a deck that's taken off online as well. Mm-hmm. And it's sort of if you're not playing control, then and you're not when you want to play energy, this seems to be where you're sort of going. And like even this deck doesn't have many actual ways to interact with Carnage Tyrant. It has creatures that can fight with it a little bit, but a Tyrant is still pretty scary here. So it's sort of interesting. If you look at Brendan DeCandio's list here, these lists feel kind of crazy and like a hybrid of what you can be doing in the format. Obviously, if you're in Grixis colors, you have access to the Scarab God, but you also have, again, 4 Rekindling Phoenix, 4 Whirler Virtuoso, because let's just make all of the best cards in Standard Kiss.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically what Standard's been. Right? That's all the Teamer Energy was.
But you have pretty good mana in here with your allied lands. You're having both Drowned Catacomb and Dragon Skull Summit with your cycling lands, because those interact pretty favorably. So your mana base ends up being pretty solid, in addition to having Aether Hub. But you have Glorybringers, you have Glint-Sleeve Siphoner, which is very good in this deck. And it plays Torrential Gearhulk, and sometimes plays more out of the board, depending on the list. He only has the 1, and then a ton of spells. He's also playing Charter Course, which is, let's just play it. Let's just play it and everything.
Just one.
But you look at his sideboard, he's got some interesting stuff going on here, too. Dream Stealer has been tech I've been seeing on Magic Online a fair amount to come in against some of the control decks that... especially against the approach decks where the removal is not great. Like, this is the kind of card that's kind of scary for that, because it just picks in and goes to town with that.
Do you have any way to pump this thing? Or is it just the one?
Just the one, but it does eternalize pretty well.
Yeah.
So, and also he's also playing a Direfleet Daredevil on the sideboard, which I think is kind of sweet.
Yeah, that one feels like it's kind of like, let's try this out.
I feel like in the mirror it's probably pretty good though. If you look at the way these decks are built, like with all these different spells, late in the game, that card just says like, let's get the best removal spell out of your graveyard. And it's also interesting against decks that are also going to play like his that play Torrential Gearhulk for value. Like, not only do you get that spell out of there, but you also might be able to turn off a Torrential Gearhulk activation. So like, you have this Glimmer of Genius in your yard. Well, I'm going to take it, and then you can't anymore. So it's kind of interesting. But I think this is where those energy decks have really gone. And if you look at Magic Online, these decks have gotten pretty popular. Pretty much I'm in for any deck that's going to play Mountains and Rekindling Phoenix at this point. So
that's like every deck in Standard right now.
I know.
Weird.
Chandra and Rekindling Phoenixes.
Doing work.
The hills are alive. with burning.
Yeah, with the sound of burning. But
can I talk about Craig Krempel's deck real quick?
Yeah, his Jeskai aggro deck, which is kind of I mean, yeah,
this one is kind of all over the place. So
the main deck is red white aggro.
Yeah, it's not all over the place.
Okay.
It's exactly what it is.
No. Like,
but it is all over the place because it's pirate aggro.
it's like half pirate aggro.
It's like
that's what I'm saying.
It's like almost pirate aggro.
It's half pirate mono red / red white / Jeskai. All right, 4 Daring Buccaneer. This is the
we did it.
Yeah, this is the 1 mana 2/2.
Oh,
if you have another
keep
pirate.
talking.
And then
we'll get
in addition to the 4 Daring Buccaneers,
you'll anger the mouse.
All right, that's fine.
I'm not gonna be here when Mickey screams.
No. See, mine goes da 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 da.
Oh,
yeah.
All right, Vanilla Ice.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I made that reference, and I don't know how many people listening to this show actually understand that.
I would hope so. It's a fairly famous clip of him trying to pretend like he didn't steal it
from Queen.
From Queen. So,
anyway, so you have the 4 Daring Buccaneers, and then the only other pirates you have are 4 Fanatical Firebrand, 4 Rigging Runner, and 3 Carry Zevs.
Yeah, so it's like 15 pirates total.
Yes. And then in addition to those creatures, you have 4 Bowman Carrier, 4 on Crasher, and 4 Hazards. You get 4 Shocks, 4 Lightning Strikes. And then the only white that you have in the main deck is the 3 Path of Metal, which Daring Buccaneer is even more kind of awkward because it doesn't trigger
doesn't do anything for that.
At least
either.
it doesn't.
It doesn't die though.
It doesn't die to it.
That's true.
But yeah,
he's not fast enough to make it to the to the Tower of Triumph.
And then you might be wondering, what's the blue for? Where's the blue? Well, negates on the board. That's it.
Yeah.
So he's got a real, he's got 4 Spire Bluff Canals, and then he has Aether Hubs in the main for the blue. This is kind of something you saw in like Mardu vehicles where like it splashed like Ceremonious Rejection back.
Yeah.
Back in the days.
Metallic Rebuke.
Yeah. Whereas like kind of like, well, I'm just playing all these fast lands anyway. Just play some Spire Bluff Canals, and
so it's
basically
also
free.
To remember, the Path of Metal taps for any color of mana.
Yes.
So if you flip one of those, then you have even more blue. Another blue source in your deck. So
yeah, but pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a cool take on it, and again, seeing some Rivals cards make waves. That deck actually has a fair amount of Rivals cards.
I just wonder what influenced him to pick this creature suite. You know what I mean?
Just wanted to play some pirates.
Because we could take a look at just in general the red white aggro deck that was on Magic Online fairly recently, and I wonder what maybe just wanted the maximum amount of 1-drops.
You want to maximize your 1-drops, and honestly, if this deck consistently puts can make that 2/2 on 1, then that it's a real clock. I think it's been a while. We've had 2/1 powers. I said Falconwrath Gorger that left, but 2/2s are on 1 are robust and sort of difficult to deal with. We do not get them that commonly. So I think at least in his mind, it must have been worth trying to shoehorn that in to get to play this this 2-drop or this 1-drop. I'm sure that the hands where he didn't have any other pirates, he was very sad. But ostensibly, if he didn't, then he had a hand that also had Bomat Couriers and such. So the deck will figure it out. But this doesn't look crazy to me. The mana base, if you don't have to go out of your way to play Sunscorched Desert anymore, then it allows for these kind of mana bases, which were always you could already do this before, but why would you do it when you had Ramanop Runes?
Yeah,
you could just do that. So this makes some sense. When you consider what mana has to look like now.
Yeah, and from what I saw, and he was on camera a couple of times. Path of Metal, just the front half of the card was doing work. I saw it kill, a Glint Sleeve Siphoner. It was killing, Thopter tokens. It's just even if you're not even flipping it, it's okay, it still has text, when it comes into play. So
yeah,
doing a little bit of work there.
So it's important to point out that Mardu Vehicle is still definitely a part of the format. It's showing up twice, podded by Dylan Donegan and William Nelson. So definitely still out there. The winner, the standard player on the winning team, I should say, Jeremy Henry was playing Sultai Constrictor, which is it's a blue black green deck, and you obviously know why it's playing the blue, the Scarab God, the one and only
Spell Pierce. Man.
Yeah, we do have Spell Pierces and an Essence Scatter main.
Just Jeremy the Wild Man playing
Spell
Pierce.
And we have negates in the sideboard for additional help with the blue there, but most everything else is black and green within the deck. But obviously, Winding Constrictor is still a very powerful Magic card. Pair that with pair that with the best card in Standard. Many would say the Scarab God, and you have a pretty powerful deck in general. Blue is kind of just a good color to be playing in general if you can achieve it within your build. The counter suites that you get access to by playing that are pretty important.
Yeah.
Do we have any approach decks here?
Yeah, there's a 4 color or no, just on here. Blue out approach in 10th place.
I was going to say that it seemed like much less popular than it was.
I think I agree with. I want to say it was Cedric Phillips who talked about. They had a Fact or Fiction. He was talking about this, but some people were saying that I agree that approach got better, but because everyone knows what it's doing, like it's not. You're not getting anybody with it. Like
it's one of the decks that's like, okay, people know about this. We're gonna have sideboard cards dedicated to
look
it.
at all these decks that are running around with just access to negate. Like when you have to tap out for 7 mana for your 7 mana sorcery to win the game, a lot of decks can just pressure you and sit back and wait.
Yeah, not care.
I do want to mention the Merfolk list in 11th.
Yeah, Ted Felicetti.
Because this to me looks like we're getting closer and closer to what Merfolk. It did pretty well the first week and is hovering around here. But I think if you look at this list, we're getting closer to what the deck just looks like. Notice all of the 4-ofs. Just straight 4s. I do think Deep Root Waters is the right way to go with these decks.
Yeah, the card's nice.
Especially with Kumena. Like, it's so good with Kumena.
Yeah. And 4 and summons.
4 and summons. And then you have Nissa. I'm still not sold on Nissa, but I've had a couple people locally tell me that it's essentially Aether Vial in this deck. Like, you just set your Nissa at, what are you want to get it to 3?
Yeah.
At 3, it is just an Aether Vial because you only misses essentially your unsummons. Deep Root Waters. So, If that's true, then maybe it's good enough, and sometimes you just draw it off the top for lethal, but I still don't know if I'm convinced that that's the card I want. So, what are you looking at?
The price of Kumena?
Oh, yeah.
That's absurd.
It's very expensive, yes. Again, when you have a deck, because the deck needs it, so it's going to be, it's a mythic.
It's just the same price as like Rekindling Phoenix.
Right.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but Rekindling Phoenix goes in every deck. This goes in blue-green Merfolk.
To be fair, like it's a legendary creature of a popular creature type, so it's got a couple of different sectors vying for it.
It's also got Commander Appeal.
Yes. Yes.
Let's just say I don't expect this price to hold.
I wouldn't be surprised if it holds for a while. Yeah. I'm not. It's gone up, not down.
I'm not a finance guy, but I'm just saying.
And in all honesty, like Merfolk is definitely like another tribe that could show up, like have random plants in Dominaria,
right? And
not at all be surprising.
I do want to mention Shaper Sanctuary also in the sideboard of this deck because if you look at the way that Standard looks, you look at the Grixis deck that we talked about and like the control decks, the Grixis and blue-black control decks. They're all just they're not playing the Wraths the same way the white versions are. They are playing a lot of targeted removal, and man, it feels really bad to be playing targeted removal against a deck with 32 creatures and they have a Shaper Sanctuary in play. Yeah. So it seems like the right time for that sideboard card to be hanging around. I want to mention one more Standard deck before we move on from this. We should mention the Marionette. The
4-color Marionette. Timothy Guy.
Now, I know that there was a Marionette deck that top-aided the IQ at Comic Town as well. But I played against some versions of this. Now, granted, the version I played against on Magic Online last week was playing Hour of Eternity, so I don't know. But this is going back to what we had seen before with Marionette Master and Treasure Map, where you can essentially, if you do this, you can try to just sort of kill people out of nowhere. We also see Tezzeret the Schemer making some headway. So
4 of
scheming.
So I thought this was kind of sweet. This is a off the wall sort of combo deck. And again, I said before that like some of these weird combo decks can maybe come back into the format. And here you go.
Do you want to explain the combo for those that don't know?
So Marionette Master is a card that features a mechanic from the Kaladesh block, which is Fabricate. It hasn't seen a lot of constructed play. So when it comes in the battlefield, this is Fabricate 3. You can either make 3 1/1 servos, or this gets 3 +1/+1 counters. And then it says, whenever an artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, target opponent loses life equal to Marionette Master's power. So if you make it a 4/7 or whatever 4/6. Then each time an artifact would die, your opponent loses 4. If you flip your treasure maps, then you can sack your treasures and do this. So the way the deck sort of wants to work is it slowly but surely pieces its artifacts together. It has things like Renegade Map, it can be easily sacrificed. It also has Hidden Stockpile, and then Tezra the Schemer also ticks up and makes
the Ethereum cells.
Yeah, he makes treasures, essentially. So the deck is all set up to do this. And it just wants to play a control game behind it. It plays Fatal Push, Ixalan's Binding, 2 copies of Profane Procession. So it really just wants to be really, really dirtily and assemble a bunch of artifacts and then kill you the turn it casts Marionette Master. Like you want to make sure you have enough artifacts in play that you can sacrifice the turn you try to resolve Marionette Master to just end the game. And if you look at how many, they're only playing 3, not the 4 Marionette Master. That tells you exactly how the deck's supposed to play. Like, you don't play that card until your opponent is dead.
Yeah.
So, but Treasure Map, like having played with it a bunch recently, the card is so good. The card is just so good. It just does everything you want. It's great. So, I think it's a cool deck and a cool thing to get to play.
Yeah. I think so as well. It's one of the off the beaten path decks that you can play and still be like really competitive. And sometimes people just can't interact with what you're doing essentially, which is a really powerful place to be within Standard. Is playing a little bit of playing something that people might consider like tier 1.5 or what have you, as far as like actual viability, and like just doing something that is still clearly powerful, still has very powerful cards, but also does something a little bit weird so that your opponent doesn't really have any profitable way of interacting with you.
Do you want to move on to the Classic?
Sure. So the Classic was won by Aiden Breyer.
Sounds right.
Playing Mono Red Aggro. So definitely, still in the hunt, still in the field. And this is pretty much exactly what you would think it would be. Nothing to, nothing that we haven't really seen before.
Those Invigorator Rampagers are sticking around, though.
Yeah, he's got 4 of them in his 75.
I think the spiciest thing is like the 2 Harsh Mentors main.
Yeah.
So somewhat surprising, but
I mean, the card is still fairly good. There's
not unheard
of. All the Constrictor decks are playing Walking Ballistas. All the Grixis decks are still playing, Virtuoso, and Scarab God.
No, I'm not saying it's bad.
It still does some work.
It's kind of fallen out of favor.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
And defeated Marta Vehicles here, piloted by Robert Stanley.
Yeah.
And the deck that kind of stands out here in this top 8, there's actually a couple, to be fair.
There's a few.
So we have Blue White Eternalize being in 3rd place. And
at first I thought it was just like SCG was just trolling us with the name.
Oh no, this was a deck before the bannings, like before Rivals. It sort of snuck under tokens because it looked a lot like tokens. But no, this deck is trying to just like play all these Eternalized threats and still play Anointed Procession and get a ton of value out of it. Essentially the first time you play the creature, you're going to get more value the second time you play it. So
yeah, this is just straight up its creature suite is Odoran Pouncer, Champion of Wits, Sunscorched Champion, 1 Vizier of Many Faces, and Angel of Sanction. Yeah. So every creature has Eternalize.
Yeah, like it's not like it looks. It almost looks like a God Pharaoh's Gift deck, but it's not. It's very heavy on graveyard interactions. So.
Right. But yeah, it is. It's just like, here are all these Eternalized things and go. So if that's something that you are, a big fan of, then you could definitely take a look at potentially playing that. And I'm happy Adorned Pouncers found the deck. Found multiple decks realistically.
I also want to point out this is playing a 1 Meandering River, which is legal because apparently it's in the Deck Builder's toolkit.
Yeah.
So okay.
I'm telling you, a lot of those lands.
I know it's so weird.
They're legal.
It's so weird.
Trust me.
If you want more cats, Morgan, there's 3 Sacred Cats in the board.
Of course, they come in packs.
All right. We should mention Grixis Improvise, right?
Yeah.
Which is playing a pretty interesting card, unless I'm crazy. No, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's playing 3 copies of Herald of Anguish.
Yeah, of course. That's like your payoff card.
Didn't it play this card before?
Well,
yes.
honestly, we haven't seen this deck in a while. The Thopter version we've seen. You know, but like this pure improvised deck, I don't think we've seen for a while. They are normally playing it. Another deck playing Tezzeret the Schemer.
Man.
And yeah, just
Hatch your plans over there.
It's all the way up to almost $4.
If you look over here, like, he's playing 4 Servo Schematic. He's playing a main deck sort of Spyglass. That's spicy. Just look at your hand. Oh, okay. Scaregod. Battle at the Bridge, which we've been talking about, was showing up before, and is a good answer to Hazaret's. Also to the Heroic deck that's showing up.
Really good answer to Adalto Vanguard.
Yeah, otherwise it's just True Name Nemesis. Yes, this is a fairly interesting one. This deck is also playing Kumena's Awakening in the sideboard, which I think is pretty spicy. These are the kind of decks that definitely can pretty easily hit
City's Blessing.
And then like this is bad for your opponent for sure. You're like, I was going to draw 2 the rest of the game. So
right.
Yeah, I can imagine be like playing Grixis or Blue Black and just like seeing that on the other side of the battlefield and being like, well, I have no way to get rid of that, and my opponent's going to be drawing 2 cards for the rest of the game. So. But yeah, I think the improvised decks are really cool. It's cool to see that they're still viable. Like, Herald of Anguish is an awesome card. It is the Swiss Army knife of demons. It kills your opponent's
Army demon.
It kills your opponent's creatures and makes them discard cards. And what more could you really want out of a creature made completely out of black mana? I don't get it. I don't get what more you could even ask for. It's all upside and can come down like absurdly quick in this deck. So yeah, it's a cool thing. So if you want something fun to do, there it is.
Yeah. There's a couple other interesting decks. We saw Green Red Monsters, which is very close to the Decandio list from the week before, playing Heart of Kirin's. Mm-hmm. There's also a Jund mid-range deck.
Yeah.
Not piloted by Jordan Kennedy, which seems weird to me.
Yeah, you know what? What a chump. This one is it's kind of weird. It's a little like all over the place.
Yeah, I don't think I understand it, but
can I just say that the first thing that jumped out at me is the 4 Jadelight Ranger, 2 Gonti, and then 4 Glorybringer all next to each other. So I'm like, double green, double black, double red. Cool.
Mana's fine. Don't worry about it. Also, like, playing for Aether Hub without like a way to recharge them, right? No, it's Servant of the Conduit. I guess Servant of the Conduit is how this all comes together, right? I mean, this deck is loose. It feels a little bit loose, but more power.
It has a lot of powerful cards in it.
Oh, for sure,
it certainly does.
I mean, like that's kind of what these mid-range decks in this format are devolving into. Is just like good stuff deck.
I mean, in main deck, Gonti is going to go, like, if you're playing against other just good stuff decks, like, that's
Gonti's sweet.
Yeah, Gonti certainly is.
Gonti's kind of a miserable card to have cast against you and been like, man, I know what's in my deck. I know what they got. We also have a couple of interesting aggro decks. We have a black-red aggro deck right next to a red-black aggro deck here listed. So if you wanted a couple of interesting takes against what you could do in the aggressive format of the standard, and you want to play some unlicensed disintegrations, I'm pretty sure that both of these should have unlicensed disintegrations in them.
The black-red deck is a little bit more interesting. So we've seen kind of the red-black. It's basically just mono red splash like Scrap Heap Scroungers.
I do want to point out that this red-black deck does have Rekindling Phoenix in it as well.
Yeah, it's in every deck, I told you.
Alongside lots of 4-drops, 7 4-drops in this black-red deck. In the main deck, you can swap out for some Chandras there in the side too. So a little bit bigger than we would typically see, kind of.
So the more like heavy black version that's here, piloted by Aaron Schwarz. This is kind of like taking the black 1-drop, so it's got like Dread Wanderers and Night Market Lookouts, and then also playing Bomat Couriers. It's like kind of like just taking like mono black aggro and then mono red and just like smushing it together. It feels like.
To be fair, like all the 1 mana 2/1s are in mono black or in black currently.
Yeah.
So it makes
you like, oh,
it kind of makes sense.
Like, you know what? I don't want to try to play pirates, and I don't want to play. What's the prowess guy? I'm thinking of the 1/2.
Oh, Monster Sister?
No.
You said 1/2 with prowess. That's the only
the one
card
that's standard legal.
Soulscar Mage. Sorry, my mind goes to better places.
Yeah, it's good.
I don't want to play these, but
good
I want to
aggressive
play these
creatures.
other,
Welcome to Wizard Mag or Wizard's Ice Cream. Would you like black aggro or red aggro? Can I get the twist cone?
Yeah. But I kind of like that.
I went a long way for that joke. Thank you for laughing, Morgan. I don't think it was good enough, but that's all right.
But this makes sense. You know, if you are an aggressive deck and you're like, oh man, I just really like, if I'm, Craig Cramples and I'm like, I just want all these like 2-power 1-drops. It's like, well, instead of like having to play like pirates and making your deck a little bit weird, it's just like, oh, they already kind of exist in the format, just in a different color.
This deck also has Vance's Blasting Cannons, which seems like a sweet Vance's Blasting Cannons deck.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to be able to flip it if you want to. And if the game's going long, it's just bolt them out.
Of course, we see our boy Angrath showing up, doing work. Angrath's really good if you are seeing a lot of the Blue-Eyed Auras deck.
Oh, yeah, it is. Except for all the cartouches fall off. I hate that.
Which is hilarious. But it is pretty hilarious to take their giant thing and be like, nah, I get to attack with this now. Oh, and it dies. Don't worry.
If it has a Curious Obsession, you do get to draw that card.
Yeah, you also get to draw a card. Yeah, I mean, obviously you're setting you have a 5-drop against their aggressive
deck. The way
deck.
those games work out, though, it actually isn't that bad. Like, because like you're trying to pick them off removal up the curve. So,
but yeah, kind of an interesting take. And I mean, like, what more could you really ask for? We're what, this is week 2 of the standard format proper, and we're still talking about it, having like interesting discussions. It's not just like solved, and like that's positive. So I'm pretty okay with it.
So there is an actual mono black deck played by AJ Kerrigan here. There's a pretty hilarious typo in the deck list as well. I think it's supposed to be 4 Night Market Lookouts. It has the deck list shows 4 Night Market Aeronauts. I was like, what the heck is this card?
Draft common?
Yeah, it's just like, the 2/2 flyer for 4. All right.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing the
Revolt.
His Revolt. So that's probably not the one he's playing. But
no.
That's obviously still a deck, so it's still a aggressive avenue you can take in the format if you really want to. You can have like all of the pseudo 2-power 1-drops as many as you want, up to like I think 16, I believe, is what's currently legal, if not more. So yeah, I think Standard's pretty interesting, pretty cool. Like it feels good to like want to be like playing Standard. Like there's a PPTQ in the area this weekend as well as a actual like Magic Online PTQ, and I'm like, I kind of want to do both those events, which is crazy.
I think I'm definitely going to the PPTQ. So
yeah, I am too. So
thanks for helping the team, Dave.
I don't have a deck, so
fair enough.
If you want to hand me a deck, then I'll play.
I can hand you Team Energy.
Look,
I can hand you Ramanopolis Red.
Look, I'm still the last 2 decks. I haven't even played that much Standard, right? But the last 2 decks that I've actually like bought into and invested in have both been banned. So I'm kind of like, why should I?
It exists.
I mean, I have a lot of Marty vehicles, but you'd have to find some cards that I would going to be probably.
Hazarets?
I have Hazarets.
I have Hazarets.
Oh, you still have them?
Yeah, I didn't get rid of them.
I thought you sold them. All right.
No, I sold them and then rebought them.
I'll play mono red. I don't care.
But yeah. Let's move on to the Modern Classic. And it was won by Ross Merriam, Team BCW's own, playing 5-color humans. Defeating
the sweetest deck.
The sweetest deck. Todd Medvedev playing Goryo's As Foretold.
What in the world is this deck?
This deck is awesome.
So, like, Living End has been playing like this deck is playing Deceiver, Exarch, Kiki, Jiki combo, which has happened before in Living End decks. Previously, it was like with Splinter Twin though, as well, I believe. These decks were like a long time ago.
Yeah,
obviously,
it was a version that I don't think was very good. But yes.
Sure, yeah. Yes. But like, this isn't like I saw this. I was like, okay, they're still doing that, and that's perfectly fine. But I mean, yeah, obviously, if you're doing some wild stuff here, because you're playing 4 Grizzle Brands as well, and you're playing Goryo's Vengeance, you're just doing it all. You're just doing all the things.
So you could technically go turn 2. Is it Charmed? Discard Deceive Rexarch, right? Kiki Jiki.
Yeah.
Turn 3, like play As Foretold and play Living End.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Win.
Yeah. Theoretically.
But you could just as easily, play a Jace on turn 2 and like loot and discard a Gristle Brand and Goryo's Vengeance that back.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You can also Goryo's Vengeance your Jaces to flip them if you need to.
Yeah.
You could Goryo's Vengeance Kiki Jiki as well.
Also true.
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting things that you could do.
Yeah, you can do a lot of interesting things. This deck is $1 million.
with this wacky deck.
I just have to look at it like its paper cost is $1,100.
Yeah.
Like every card that hasn't been printed in forever. Living End.
You're also like
Goryo's Vengeance.
You're playing 4 Ancestral Vision. No big deal. Just like all the things. You're doing all the things in this deck. It's definitely cool. For sure.
So.
And if you have a lot of these cards already, then like why not? But I'm not going to tell you to invest in this deck. Not a safe buy.
So this is definitely the sweetest deck. I think we can all agree on that.
Oh yeah, that's sweet.
Honestly, this is a deck that I think like pros that are over in Europe right now getting ready for the Pro Tour, they have to at least take a look and be like, is this real? I need to proxy this up and see if this is real. Because this looks like something that could just be busted.
Or alternatively, maybe Tom knows a pro, and they're like, "Hey, give me something hot for this, this open." His team scrubs out. He has a good record though in Modern. Then goes and plays the Classic with this sweet deck, and breaks the format pre Pro Tour.
Maybe
I'm gonna say this deck is breaking the format. Like. It's really light on actual interaction.
Yeah, and obviously, still lost.
This deck folds to great. Like,
I think.
Look at the 75. It actually can't beat a Rest in Peace. Like, the deck actually has a 1 negate, and your Is It Charm as an
2 engineered explosives.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot. All right, that's real. You're right. It's real. Like, this is the kind of deck that it could take the PT by storm, but also just like can definitely be beaten. It also, I don't know if you've played cards like this before. This is also the kind of deck where you play a bunch of Faithless Lootings and your deck does nothing. So,
I mean, it does seem like it has some staying power, like Ancestral Vision.
No,
it's a way that you can
it's definitely sweet. Like I think it's really good, but I think that like the living end deck, like the As Foretold Living End deck, got a bunch of hype and hasn't done anything at all.
No,
so
but that deck's like you're getting back like a bunch of random creatures. This is like this is not
a solid game plan.
This is not trying to do a value Living End unless you consider like putting a Gristle Brand in play.
Sure.
Which is like
all I'm saying is I don't
sweet.
think this deck breaks the format in any stretch.
No,
but it's very cool. It's very, very cool.
I think like at this point in Modern, breaking the format is basically finding a surprising like combination of cards that we haven't really seen yet, or like a twist on an existing archetype. That's going to be breaking the format.
Sure.
Maybe, or breaking the tournament, we should say, because it's not going to break the format for long if this becomes like the thing.
You're not going to Kim Kardashian break the internet. Or not what we're
doing. Yeah. But yeah, I think like this is something like completely. We haven't really seen anything like this. We've seen As Foretold, Living End, and decks, and we've seen, Jason, Gristlebrand, and, Goryo's Vengeance in decks. And we've seen Kiki Jiki and Deceiver. We haven't seen all these things in one deck.
So once again, we have this running theme of all the decks are just, make all the good cards kiss and just jam them all together.
Kiss.
It's like one of those weird like Play-Doh sets where you just like put all the colors and you crank it and it's like,
man.
I made Play-Doh hair and it's got like 9 colors in it. Look at that.
It's not even like the peanut butter jelly that's already pre-mixed that you see in the stores. It's not even that. Because there's a third flavor in there.
I used to think that was so cool, and then like now, like as an adult, I'm like, this is disgusting. Like, who would ever buy this? Why is this a thing?
What company was like, Goober? That's it.
That's it.
That's it. That's the one.
That's our product name.
You know what there's really a market out there for? Peanut butter and jelly in the same jar.
Hey, some people, man, they don't have time for two different containers, man. Do you understand how busy?
Time or the space? Think of all the space you'll save.
That's twice the dishes because you have to like. They're just trying to save you time and energy. You goober.
Yeah, those are the kind of people that they also make their peanut butter jelly sandwiches out of pita pockets because again, who has the time for two pieces of bread? It's gotta open, man.
They just eat the bread and then take a spoonful of goober and shove it in there. Oh god. They go, I'm done. I've had my lunch.
So guys, I will promise you this. The next time we travel to a tournament, whether that's the invitational or whatnot, I'm going to buy some pita pockets and some goober. I'm going to pack you guys a lunch. Unless it's in the Berglund Center, they'll probably make me throw it out before I go in.
They will make
no outside snacks.
100%. You know that's where it's going to be, and there's not going to be any out. There's not going to be any food allowed inside because that subverts the Berglund Center's opportunity to make money off of you.
The Hot Pockets listen to this right now going, so wait, we can put goober in a pocket?
It's like, go on.
Goober pockets.
Some R&D lead is like frantically trying to get the goober company on the phone. I got a great idea. I got to pitch to you. This cannot wait. Bill, it's 10:25 at night. No.
It's the scene from Back to the Future. Yeah. It's your cousin, Paul Goober. Listen to this.
You know that breakfast treat you've been trying to find? I think I got it. Oh man. Well, anyway. I'm glad that we've got off the rails.
Anyway, I'm saying I'll spend the $3.75 on making goober pockets for you guys.
Hashtag we're not in any way, shape, or form sponsored by Goober, but
I don't think anyone's thinking we are.
But maybe. Hey Goober, reach out to us.
Get us that Goober gear. I'll be your Goober guy.
I'm gonna turn down your Goober money.
Oh man, it'll be Goober grape. Not to be confused as Goober grape, a real flavor of food you can buy right now at your store.
Oh man,
Dave's googling Goober.
There it is. Oh, it's made by Smuckers.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, shoot, now we're sued.
Oh no,
oh no,
we're dead.
All of them. They're gonna come here and.
Look at that. So it's goober grape. Do they make other flavors of goober? Do they have like goober strawberry? Oh, they do.
Welcome to our new section of the podcast, the Goober Fan Cast.
You know what? As a dad with two kids, I still have not bought goober.
Oh, I'm probably have daughter. I want that to become her new favorite thing.
She'll go gaga for goober.
We just
it's grape.
Yeah, we just combining catchphrases now. All right. I gotta stop. This is making me laugh.
Oh man. Well, that was the modern classic. That was it.
Did Ross Merriam have anything spicy?
I don't know.
He was playing humans, and
he was playing humans, and I don't know. I feel like that deck is obviously the real deal. Like, if you had any like questions or concerns about like that deck having any staying power, like at this point in time, like you're just wrong. And he was playing the Kessig Malcontents. Attack.
That card's real. So I've heard like some people like some, I guess, like, you know, previews from the Pro Tour of like, you know, what decks to expect, and like everything that I've seen with humans when it talks about humans is like, yeah, you know, this is like one of the new tribal decks like on the block, and you know, it's having some success, but like pros tend to shy away from this type of deck. And I'm just like, why? This deck is really powerful. Like, this deck is really good. It's put up consistent results.
Yeah, I think that's actually, I don't know if that's ultimately true. This is the kind of deck that I wouldn't be surprised to see like an LSV sit down and pilot.
This is like the Craig Wesco special. Like, he's definitely going to play this deck, right? It's got white creatures in it.
The only other interesting deck that I see is the Teamer Hollow one.
Yeah, that's what I opened
Teamer Hollow one deck. Of course, it's playing Flame with Phoenix and Charter Course. Like, how do you not like this deck?
It's the other Phoenix.
It went to Thought Scours too, which I think is also
that makes sense.
A good choice.
So you know what this is not playing is the that stupid card that we all hate.
Burning Inquiry.
Burning Inquiry. Yeah, you don't have to play Burning Inquiry. You can play the good one.
People have been trying this for a whole bunch. I know Burning Inquiry did this. I think one of the decks that Saffron Olive played this week caused like Goblin Lore, just which is like spiked because of it. But like I agree. Like let's get rid of the random stuff and just play Thought Scour, like a card that's just going to put the cards, random cards, anyways where you want them, but you don't have to like accidentally butcher your hand in doing so. Now I will say Thought Scour obviously doesn't help cast Hollow One, so that's a little bit different. But man, this deck plays this Charter Course. Like I'm good. I'm in. Let's get it.
But yeah, so. This is kind of a new kid on the block as well, and has multiple iterations. And I'm glad to see that people are still kind of working on it and trying to figure it out. I think the Vengevine version is really cool, obviously, because it just leads to like more explosive sort of draws.
Yeah, we've seen versions that have played like they try to incorporate Death Shadow. So there's been like Jund versions that have played, maybe instead of like Hooting Mandrills, it's playing like Tassigurs and like Death Shadow and stuff like that. So. We've seen versions. This is the first time I've seen a blue version of it.
This looks like Hazard's in the sideboard.
Yeah.
Whew.
That's a card that has been showing up here and there. Like I know that Reed Duke had a Jund video playing Hazard's.
Yeah.
So it's showing up. I mean, Modern can be a format where you just don't have a hand, and like it can be hard to get rid of.
It's certainly awkward because like there's obviously things like Paths and Dismembers, but. I mean, yeah, I think
that's pretty much it, though. That's like the only things.
Other than that, like the card itself seems like there's not a lot of. I think a lot of 4-drops in Standard that could make its way. We've seen like Chandra do it, but like Hazard makes sense. Mm-hmm. Just wait for a Rekindling Phoenix to make it over there too.
That's a bit bold.
That one also dies to Path pretty hard, but
not much better against Dismember though.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, how about that?
But yeah, overall, Modern's still good, and Caleb Bashir top forward with Storm.
Weird.
That's big surprise there.
Oh yeah, same list that he's been running, and really no changes.
Yep.
Again, he's qualified for this Pro Tour.
Yeah,
they had a pretty cool spotlight on him on the Star City coverage. Where they do like their player spotlight, and they kind of talked to him about that. And I guess like this is the first Pro Tour that he'll be playing in. He said he qualified for one previously that he did not attend, so it's pretty exciting for him. I mean,
he's gonna help get his favorite deck banned.
Yeah. That would be cool. Like to play in your first Pro Tour and you just get to play like a deck that you've had like a million hours with already. So it's like, oh, I'm good with Constructed. I just got to draft.
Draft and figure out the limited format.
I mean, look for him. To potentially make a run this weekend. He definitely knows what he's doing in Modern. So,
before we move on to the question of the week, do you want to give a shout out to our other lovely sponsor, BCW Supplies? They are a lovely provider of multiple ways to protect your hobbies. So if you want some everything from something to protect your comic books to your Magic cards, you could definitely check them out, or even like weird stuff like your signed baseballs, your jerseys. I think like they have a lot of stuff, so definitely check them out.
Also, they have those sweet card trays.
Yeah, card sorting trays,
which I definitely used over the weekend because I was digging for pauper stuff in my collection. So.
Yeah, but a bunch of stuff that's sort of off the beaten path. So definitely check them out. You can check them out via their website bcwsupplies.com or via Facebook. Just do a quick search for BCW Supplies. Also, if you want to keep up with Team BCW, which is the team that they assisted in bringing out to a bunch of different places for. Usually before the opens to have the beat a Team BCW member and stuff like that. Follow Team BCW on Twitter as well, so that you can see where BCW's taking their team next. So, moving on. Question of the week. The constructed portion of PT Rivals of Ixalan will be featuring Modern instead of Standard. Do you believe this is? Do you believe this will ultimately benefit Standard or hurt it?
I think this ultimately benefits Standard. I mentioned before I wrote a piece for Legit MTG last week talking about the red black deck that Morgan and I had been working on, and I mentioned there that one of the things for like decks like that and people who've wanted to brew with the format is that without having a Pro Tour immediately after the set, we aren't going to get those definitive lists we see from the PT that sort of knock like the kind of their brews off. Like we normally see those sort of start disappearing after that. So without a Pro Tour, I think to give us those definitive lists that Standard really want, like the players want to look at, I think it lets the format breathe a little bit, which feels pretty good to me after a banning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think I agree with you mostly. On one hand, it's awkward because part of the reason why we have Pro Tours is to promote the current set, which I'd be surprised if any card maybe other than Blood Sun sees any play this weekend in Modern. You know what I mean?
Some Merfolk maybe.
Yeah,
possibly, sure.
Mistbinder or whatever.
Yeah,
yeah. Good mana.
So you're not really highlighting the set. You're not, but I don't know. Like, are people going to be more excited if they see Standard versus Modern? I don't know. I think Modern is more popular.
I think I'm okay with, and I think I'll speak for everybody. Don't worry, guys. I'm here.
Mike's got this.
I'm here for everyone. But in all seriousness, I'm fine with taking a break from seeing like Aether Hub on camera. And I'm saying like energy will dominate, but I think it's just after the bannings, it's fine. It's fine. I get you want to show off your pirates and your dinosaurs, but if you didn't design those to really go into older formats anyways, so I don't think you're that worried about it when you made this decision.
Yeah. I honestly, I think like Rivals of Ixalan is actually one of the least exciting sets to come out in recent memory. Like, I'm not really that excited about any of the cards. I know you love your Phoenix, but
but I agree.
That's kind of a boring card.
We talked last week about how the block
card,
itself is just not exciting for a number of reasons.
Yeah, so I think like taking a step back is okay. I still don't fully agree with them like bringing back a Modern Pro Tour, but that's kind of where we're at now. So whatever. But
I worry about what will happen depending on what sort of what does well at the Pro Tour. But so I agree with you on that. But I will say that like to me it just makes sense. Like there's a lull right now from the bannings, but Standard has a little bit more buzz. We've said we're talking positively about it. It gets to go and be quiet, and then we said we're already excited for Dominaria. So it gets the Standard
just kind of coast into the Dominaria.
It gets like coast into Dominaria hype and get back to a Standard Pro Tour. Then if the format is healthier, which already looks like it is, and we again the play design team continues to show us that they're going to put real answers into a set like Dominaria, I think you could see this whole swing could end up being very good, not only for Standard but just like format health and like Magic health. It could just be like, okay, good. We all needed this personal mental day. We're good.
Yeah,
we've refreshed.
It's obviously they weren't planning on that. Like they couldn't have planned all that in that far in advance. You know what I mean?
They did plan though which Pro Tour was going to be Modern, and like there has to be some consideration to. Okay, which of these sets is not going to be as hyped as other ones? Like, I maybe they can't make that decision, but there has to be some decision that goes into which set are we going to knock Standard out for, and if it's Ixalan, then it's Ixalan.
Like maybe they knew that Ixalan block was just not going to be as impactful as.
Well, they knew it wasn't going to be as powerful. That was a guarantee.
Yeah,
it's definitely underpowered compared to like Amaket and Kaladesh. So
yeah, and you're not going to make Dominaria not be focused for the Pro Tour.
No.
And honestly, you're probably not going to make like something as seemingly benign as like the core set not be focused.
Because
the core set,
not the 25th anniversary year,
right?
Exactly.
And not the core set like coming back from a hiatus. So like people are kind of excited about a core set because we've missed it.
You mean from the grave? Reanimate, reprint confirmed.
Yeah, clearly they're gonna shove that one in
dead
there
with new wording.
Yes, Reanimate dead.
But yeah, I think like this is doing a service to Standard. I think the Standard has had a bit of a rough patch, and this allows them to continue to build steam for the Pro Tour without having to worry about where Standard's at. And I feel kind of disappointed that people have to like sit through Rivals of Ixalan Limited because it's better than Ixalan Limited, but it's still like not great. From what I've seen from people like that actually draft consistently, it is better. But like it's easy to be better than like garbage for some things, not for everything, but for some things it's easy to be better than like how bad regular Ixalan sealed or limited already was. But I think it's a good thing for sure.
Agreed.
All right, we have a bonus question of the week.
Ooh.
Will we see any new?
What is your favorite flavor of goober?
And this is, to focus on modern, and it should be a quick one. But do we expect to see any new decks or any new takes on old archetypes at the Pro Tour this weekend?
I think what I mostly expect to see are established archetypes. I think a majority of pros don't regularly play modern, so it's not going to be so much, hey, what can we do to break the format? It's more like going to be like, all right, let me get in as many games as I can and try to play this deck well.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think I would look to some of the teams that are fairly new or based on teams that were former SCG grinders. So like teams like the Card Hoarder, any of the people going in through BCW. And I don't say that just because here, but like teams that played most of their Magic on the SCG tour, where they would innovate and play modern a lot more often. That is where I think you could see close to a new archetype. We saw with the one we already highlighted this episode that that's a fairly maybe not a brand new archetype. The jamming together of all of them, but
the jam nice.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really proud of that. The gooberization of modern, if you will. So maybe it's something like that where we just see you say a tweak, but maybe like a spin on an archetype that maybe isn't new. But as far as brand new deck, I would think we'd have to see something in Rivals that would spark that. And there's just nothing there that sparks that. Because beyond that, like I don't. Granted, we can't just predict where a new deck comes from, but to just rise from from nothing, playing Forward Kindling Phoenixes, it just seems unlikely.
Though to be fair, we did see. Like the 5-color humans deck was kind of a completely new thing that just came and just dominated that one SCG Open.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible.
I'm
going to say it's not likely, but it's possible.
I think like I would expect to see just sort of established archetypes. I don't think that there was anything in like Rivals that is going to suddenly like break the format. It seems like overall like an underpowered set where the last time that we saw something really like take Modern by storm, it was because we had some really broken Eldrazi cards that interacted well with older cards. You don't really have that. Even with like Merfolk being a consideration, like Merfolk definitely gets some new things that they could potentially use, but doesn't make the deck like overwhelmingly powerful. It's like a new Lord, and that's really about it. But I do think there's like an outside chance of maybe someone who's not associated with a team, or like Mike said, someone who's associated with a team that did a lot of their work previously on the Star City game circuit, coming out with something a little bit fresh. But I wouldn't expect any of the pros to really venture outside the typical norms of what modern is, because in honesty, you don't really need to. So I don't know how much of an advantage you're necessarily going to get by doing so, since there isn't anything that looks absurdly broken right now.
Yeah, I expect to see a lot of Death Shadow and a lot of Burn, actually. I think like a lot of people that I think Burn is a deck that's maybe not. It's obviously not the hardest deck to play, but it is like somewhat hard to play optimally. But I think it's it's one that you don't need a lot of format knowledge to be like, okay,
it's proactive, and it is fairly linear, and I think that
interacts favorably with Storm.
Yeah, I think that is something that I wouldn't be surprised to see people. Maybe even like a Storm being stay away from.
I eagerly await to see John Finkel finally answer if we should be fetchless or not. I'm assuming he'll let us know with his list.
There's obviously going to be people that are going to play it regardless, but I wouldn't be surprised if people like shied away from Storm. Not to be like just to not be like put in a hole, like pigeonholed.
I bet Affinity also has a good showing.
Yeah,
you have people like I think like a Patrick Dickman or something like that. Who Affinity was always a go-to solid choice.
And even in Eldrazi Winter, like Affinity was still good. Right. So if Affinity is kind of just always good, so I would expect to that's always an easy bet to place.
Yeah. Thanks. Call.
I'm just saying.
Fine, whatever.
But you know what? In all honesty, like. I think that if there is a deck that is out there that people are underrating pros being on, and could have like a lot of people playing it, it could be humans. In all honesty, we have said previously, like in this podcast, like deck is just good. And I think a lot of people saying like, the pros typically avoid playing these decks might be a little bit wrong, because the deck has a lot more play than you would typically put into a creature focused tribal deck. It doesn't necessarily like fall into those typical tropes. It plays a lot at instant speed. It does a lot of things that you wouldn't necessarily expect from just like a aggressive creature deck. And I think that may attract pros to it more than people are just like falling back on like their general idea of what that deck is in their head, and not really like putting the effort into looking like what that deck can actually do. So keep an eye on that. And of course, it's modern, so everything we just said could be absolutely wrong.
Yeah, it's gonna be like 6 ad nauseum decks in the top 8, and then like
just like
a Scred Red and Mono Blue Merfolk or something.
Yeah, just like something dumb like that. So let's wrap up. Obviously, over the weekend, the big thing that's going to be happening is going to be Pro Tour Rivals of Ixalan. Locally, we do have a PPTQ at Beyond the Board. If you are local and are looking to try to qualify for PT Milwaukee, I think it is. It's the
Stay away, because I'm taking it down.
Well,
oh, yeah.
Me or Mike, hopefully.
Possibly me.
I said what I said.
That's the plan. One of us.
Give me
one of
red.
us. But if you can't make it out to a local PPTQ or tournament, and you have Magic Online, there actually are a couple of PTQs happening over the weekend. So a standard one and a sealed one. I think the standard one is Saturday, and the sealed one is Sunday. So there's another way. Those are just straight up PTQs. You win, you get in. So definitely check that out as well. But that's everything for us this week. If you want, you can reach out to us via various means. If you're on Twitter, it's YourEndStep is our handle, and when you add us, it's at YourEndStep. We have a Gmail account at YourEndStep@gmail.com, and of course, we do have our website. It's just at YourEndStep.com if you want to check that out. If you're listening to us via iTunes, feel free to leave us a review or a rating. Definitely helps with our visibility and gets more people listening to the show. If you got us through MTGcast, be sure to check out some of the other lovely shows they have on there. If you're into Magic, there's a show for you out there that isn't ours. But listen to ours first, because, it's us. Also, be sure to check out our sponsors on Facebook, both Comic Town Gaming Center and BCW Supplies. You can just search for those names and they pop right up. And give them some love, because they give us some love. Also, if you want to give us a little bit more love, we do have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/@YourEndStep. And you can contribute to our show here. It's everything that our patrons actually contribute to us definitely goes back into the show. And we appreciate it so much. We have a few costs here and there. It's not as much as some bigger shows, but we got to host the show, and that's a monthly cost, and it's something that we definitely have to find some support with sometimes, and our patrons definitely help us out with that, and they get some cool bonuses for doing so. So thank you for all of our patrons that contribute every month. We do appreciate it. That's going to be everything for this week. We will catch you guys next time. You have a great one. Bye.